Friends, welcome back to live lectures for IBPS clerks mains exam, and I would like to tell you this is the last live lecture as far as IBPS clerks mains examination is concerned, and after this 2 weeks before the commencement of IBPS PO interviews, you will have around 5 to 6 live questions and answer sessions. Please send your queries to suggestions@learningspace.in, and we are going to deliberate 5-6 live lectures just 2 weeks before the commencement of PO interviews, and we have already uploaded 5 modules last year pertaining to IBPS PO interviews. Please view those, and I am not going to include those questions once again. Whatever questions we have discussed at that time, they will not be included now. I will take latest events of 2016 as far as banking awareness, economy, infrastructure and other government schemes are concerned. I will deliberate my questions and answers for interviews based on these, right. So, this is the last live for IBPS clerks mains, and I am going to discuss some words especially relating to banking and economy. Arbitrage. What is the meaning of arbitrage? Arbitrage means the price difference in two different markets. When the price of 1 kg wheat in Agra is rupees 20, if the same is rupees 25 in Mathura, Agra to Mathura is around 60-70 kilometers. So, if the price difference is too much, that is known as price arbitrage. Arbitrage is the word used not only for price movements, but also for interest rates. Suppose I will tell you one example. Our bank fixed deposit interest rates are around 6%, 7%. If small savings interest rates in post offices are 10%, then it is called there is a lot of interest arbitrage. So, people will try to invest in post offices. So, arbitrage means basically difference in financial markets. Next one is hedge. Hedge is basically to reduce the risk due to the volatility of movements. When farmer is producing wheat, he will go for hedging of the price. When the wheat comes to the market, there is every possibility that the price may crash. So, to protect against the price volatility, he may hedge his produce. Similarly, when a corporate is borrowing from foreign market, when a corporate is borrowing from foreign market in dollars, I am not talking about masala bonds. Masala bonds, there is no risk basically. And when some corporate is borrowing from foreign markets, there is risk involved, and to reduce that risk, to prevent the volatility of risk of currency, hedging is required. So, certain words do not forget: arbitrage, hedging, then hedge funds. Again, hedge funds are entirely different. Hedge funds are quite aggressively managed funds of the money of high net worth individuals. Hedge funds are basically aggressively managed portfolios of rich persons, neo-rich persons, 100 crores, maybe $100 million, then $1 billion. Those type of huge investments are managed through hedge funds. Mutual funds are just for common man like you and me. We give money, they use their brain, they will invest in some securities like shares or bonds, right. So, mutual funds are basically for common man, and certain terminology do not forget when it comes to mutual funds. The terminology associated with the mutual funds are systematic investment plans. Every month they will collect from us, then units, then asset management company like HDFC, like Reliance Mutual Fund. So, like that, please do not forget, and at the same time entry load, exit load, then net asset value or NAV, these are the terms associated with the mutual funds. So, there is a difference between hedge fund and mutual fund. Mutual fund is for common man like you and me. Basically, it is to reduce the risk with the diversification of our investments, whereas hedge funds are aggressive portfolios. If you look at real estate investment trusts, infrastructure investment trusts, real estate investment trusts, infrastructure investment trusts, these two are basically just like mutual funds. They will collect money from persons like you and me, and they will invest in real estate in case of REITs and in infrastructure projects like expressways, bullet train projects in case of InvITs. And when profit is there, that will be shared to you. So, REITs as well as InvITs are just like mutual funds, please do not forget. MCLR, marginal cost of funds based lending rate. Here one important term, please do not forget, monetary transmission. What is the meaning of monetary transmission? When repo rate is reduced, when RBI is reducing repo rate, that should be reflected in the loans. When repo rate is reduced by 2%, and please do not forget basis points, 1% is 100 basis points in banking parlance, and repo rate when it is reduced by 100 basis points, then loan rate, the rate on the loans issued by the banks should also reduce by 100 basis points. That is not taking place. So, the name specifically for that is monetary transmission. The biggest worry in the banking system is monetary transmission is not taking place, and MCLR is basically with a purpose to ensure monetary transmission. So, MCLR means marginal cost of funds based lending rate. Here the interest rates on latest deposits are calculated before arriving at cost of funds, not total deposits, latest deposits. That means when the interest rates on the latest deposits are reduced, then cost of funds will be reduced, because it is based on the recent deposits. Right. So, because of MCLR, proper monetary transmission will take place, is expected to take place, and that is the reason why base rate was replaced by MCLR from 1st April 2016. NIIF, National Investment and Infrastructure Fund. This is basically to enhance infrastructure investments. Infrastructure requires trillions of dollars of investment in our country, and for that purpose especially this National Investment and Infrastructure Fund was created. Then market stabilization scheme. This is used as and when there is a need to take out the excess liquidity. Recently, because of demonetization, lakhs of crores of rupees are flooded into the banking system. Banking system is flush with money. Government has to suck that. So, for sucking that money, there is a separate mechanism, that is the market stabilization scheme bonds. This is MSS bonds. Previously, the limit was rupees 30,000 crore. Now, it is increased to rupees 6 lakh crores, basically to suck liquidity, and it is kept aside. It is different from Government of India's market borrowing program. Every year, Government of India borrows rupees 5 lakh crores to rupees 6 lakh crores, mostly from the banking system. So, that is different. Their government uses that money for the developmental needs, but MSS bonds are entirely different. This money is kept aside. Technically speaking, central government cannot use that money. So, MSS bonds are used as and when there is a requirement of sucking excess liquidity. And Government of India recently RBI recently introduced incremental CRR also, because to suck excess liquidity, that is incremental CRR in addition to 4%. And once this mechanism of MSS bonds is kept in place, that was withdrawn, right. So, this incremental CRR and MSS bonds, these are into the news recently, these are very, very important even for the students whoever are appearing for various interviews. This live lecture is very, very important. USSD, unstructured supplementary service data. Here government wants to promote digital payments with basic phones. Smartphones have got several other mechanisms, but basic feature phones where almost 60 to 70% of the population are with basic feature phones. This unstructured supplementary service data is basically the mechanism for basic feature phones. Then star 99#, that is based on this USSD mechanism, please do not forget. Participatory notes, 2-3 important aspects. If someone asks you about P note, that is participatory note. Participatory notes are issued by foreign portfolio investors. These are the investors from foreign land who invest in Indian stock market. Foreign insurance funds, foreign pension funds, they come to our country. Basically our country, that means a developing country like India, will give more returns. That is why they come to India. That is foreign portfolio investors. And there is a mechanism, foreign portfolio investors can give participatory notes. So, participatory notes are given by foreign portfolio investors. Recently, Securities and Exchange Board of India tightened various rules and regulations. Recently, various rules and regulations were tightened from July 1, 2016. That means KYC norms are applicable for participatory note holders also. And participatory notes as well as this loopholes in double taxation avoidance agreements. I am talking about the next word, round tripping. To explain that word, I am emphasizing on these two things. One is participatory notes, the other one is loopholes in double taxation avoidance agreements. These two are suspected to be conduits for black money. Our black money is going abroad, coming back to our country in the name of participatory notes and through shell companies in countries like Mauritius or Panama. That is why recently government modified double taxation avoidance agreement protocols with Mauritius, Cyprus. So, round tripping means that is our black money going to other countries, coming back to our country, that is round tripping. So, as to prevent round tripping, government modified double taxation avoidance agreements, that is one part, and the other part is this participatory notes guidelines were also made difficult. Then foreign portfolio investment, foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment is coming from foreign land, foreign direct investment is also coming from foreign land, but there is a marked difference. Foreign portfolio investment basically invests in stock market. They can come at any time, they can go at any time. That is hot money, you can say. Whereas foreign direct investment directly comes to our country, it gets invested in our country, it creates jobs and it aids in GDP. There are some negative aspects of foreign direct investment also. I am not going into those aspects. So, if someone asks you about FPI and FDI, there are differences in them. So, FPI is a volatile investment, it can go anytime. FDI is most stable investment, and both of them comes from foreign countries. FDC drugs, recently this is into the news. What is the meaning of FDC drugs? Vicks Action 500, that is example of FDC drug. At the same time, Corex syrup, this is example of FDC drug. And do not go into those details. Please understand, FDC drugs means fixed dose combination drugs. First government banned 344 FDC drugs, subsequently Delhi High Court struck it down. The matter ends there. GM mustard. All of you are familiar with GM cotton. It is extensively grown in our country, and food crop, government has not allowed any food crop, and GM mustard is going to be the first food crop if government gives approval, and this is into the news recently. So, GM mustard means genetically modified mustard, please don't forget. Wi-Fi, this is the technology for wireless local area network, and some people call it wireless fidelity. It may be right or wrong because some people deny that. Whatever it is, Wi-Fi is technology for wireless local area network, and Li-Fi is light fidelity. There is difference between Wi-Fi and Li-Fi. Both use electromagnetic waves, but the difference is Wi-Fi uses radio waves, Li-Fi uses visible light waves. So, that is the difference. This is in experimental stage. Li-Fi, that is light fidelity, that is in experimental stage. It is 100 times faster than Wi-Fi, but it cannot penetrate the walls. That is the biggest disadvantage. Then skimming. Skimming is illegally copying the information from cards. The magnetic stripe cards can be easily copied, but chip based cards cannot be easily copied. That is why RBI gave instructions to issue chip based cards, not magnetic stripe based cards. Phishing. Phishing is nothing but enticing you to reveal sensitive information like your username and password. So, these are various aspects as far as cyber threats are concerned. Hacking, illegally intruding into the network, that is hacking. And CERT, this is the organization which is the nodal authority to look at cyber crimes. Various types of cyber crimes I have just now listed, like skimming, phishing, hacking, and the nodal authority in our country to look at all these aspects is CERT India, that is a Computer Emergency Response Team India. Please don't forget. Masala bonds. Masala bonds are rupee denominated bonds, where the risk, currency risk, if rupee depreciates, that is not the lookout of a lender. And here, let me tell you once again, masala bonds. Masala bonds are rupee denominated bonds. And here, if rupee depreciates, as a borrower, I am not at risk. And here, the risk will be borne by the lender who is lending money. So, masala bonds, basically currency risk will not be there, that is most important point, on the borrower. And external commercial borrowing, please don't forget, external commercial borrowing means money borrowed by Indian corporates from abroad. And if it is in rupee denominated, that is masala bonds, please don't forget. Hyperinflation, two questions you can expect on hyperinflation, that is which is the country affected recently because of hyperinflation, that is Venezuela. This is in South America. Venezuela is badly affected because of hyperinflation, and Bolivar note, 100 Bolivar note was also banned by the government recently. So, if someone talks about Bolivar, that is Venezuela. At the same time, the country is suffering because of 200%, 500% inflation, that is hyperinflation, that is Venezuela, don't forget. One China principle, and here China is not accepting the existence of Taiwan. Taiwan was formed in the year 1949, but China is not recognizing the existence of Taiwan, and it has got its peculiar name, that is One China principle. So, recently this One China principle is also into the news. If someone talks about Taiwan, that is into the news because of One China principle. TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, it has got 12 member countries. Now, the President-elect of USA, Donald Trump, stated that he will abrogate this agreement. and India is not a member of TPP. Please remember, RCEP has got 16 countries, and this is going to be another trade agreement among 16 countries. It consists of 10 Asian countries and 6 more countries, and India is a member of RCEP. Please don't forget. European Union is into the news because of Brexit, that is exit, going to be the exit of United Kingdom. Because of that, European Union is into the news. European Union has got at present 28 countries, and 19 countries follow euro as the common currency. That is another point. Another point is Schengen zone. Schengen zone is nothing but having a common border. So there is no need of separate visa. You can travel across all the countries with one single visa, that is Schengen zone. These things please don't forget. And AIIB as well as NDB, all of you are familiar with these two. AIIB, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Beijing headquartered bank, NDB, New Development Bank, Shanghai headquartered bank, or otherwise known as BRICS Bank. Then Bharat, the stage 6 in our country. At present, we are following Bharat stage 3 and Bharat stage 4 fuel norms. They are pertaining to emissions from vehicles when these hydrocarbons are burnt. So, this Bharat stage 6 is going to be implemented from 2020 April 1, please don't forget, and entire country will switch over to Bharat 4 from April 1, 2017. Hyperloop, this is the technology which is into the news because of compatible speeds of airlines. Here the speed will go up to 1200 kilometers per hour, compatible to airline speeds. So, this Hyperloop technologies is into the news recent times. BEPS, somebody may ask you, what is the meaning of BEPS? That is base erosion and profit shifting. This is the strategy adopted by multinational companies to avoid payment of tax. This is base erosion and profit shifting, and one organization behind it is OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Paris based organization, and India is not a member of OECD. Please don't forget. AEOI is automatic exchange of information, and India is a signatory to multilateral competent authority agreement. Please don't forget. And as India is a signatory, from 2017 onwards, India will get automatic exchange of information, and this is as per common reporting standards. So, please, if someone asks you about CRS, common reporting standards, MCAA, multilateral competent authority agreement, and at the same time AEOI, automatic exchange of information, BEPS, base erosion and profit shifting, then IDDM, this is not related to this, this is related to defense procurement. Government recently unveiled new policy of defense procurement procedure 2016. As per the government's new policy of DPP 2016, IDDM is a separate category. And this new procurement procedure is based on Dhirendra Singh committee recommendations, and IDDM means indigenously designed, developed and manufactured within our country. So, IDDM category will get preference in defense procurements. PMUY, Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, government is giving rupees 1600 subsidy. And when you are talking about Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, 5 crore gas connections will be given within 3 years, and the subsidy is rupees 1600 per each gas connection. Two more important aspects is direct benefit transfer of LPG is also known as PEHL, which entered into Guinness Book of World Records, and Give It Up is the program that is for giving up subsidy of LPG voluntarily. These things don't forget. This is Shyam Prasad Mukherjee Rurban Mission. Government launched this, and this is basically providing amenities in rural areas. Rural areas, cluster based cluster based approach will be there, and their urban amenities will be provided in rural areas. Two things: one is to improve employment in rural areas, to prevent migration to metropolitan centers. These two are the main aims of Shyam Prasad Mukherjee Urban Mission. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, we discussed several times, 2%, 1.5%, 5%, that is the premium, that is very important, please don't forget. Stand Up India. Startup India, Stand Up India. Startup India means supporting startup companies, and for supporting startup companies, government started rupees 10,000 crore fund of funds. And somebody may ask you, fund of funds, what is meant by fund of funds? Fund of funds is not directly investing in the companies, they will be investing in some venture capital fund, and subsequently that venture capital fund will invest in company, basically to reduce the risk. So, fund of funds is very important, that is with regard to supporting startup companies. And at the same time, one more important aspect, don't forget, that is refinancing. What is meant by refinancing? Refinancing is directly not giving a loan to the beneficiary. In refinancing, that is given to some intermediary like bank, like SBI, and SBI will pass on the benefit to the customer. That is refinancing. And refinance organizations, if somebody asks you, there are some refinance organizations in our country. If you want example, Mudra Bank is one example of refinancing agency. At the same time, NABARD is one example of refinancing agency. Like this, please don't forget. Then Stand Up India, we discussed about Startup India, fund of funds, refinancing. Let us look at Stand Up India. Stand Up India is basically to support entrepreneurs among SCs, STs as well as women, and under Mudra Bank, loans limit is up to rupees 10 lakhs. Under Stand Up India, the loans starts from rupees 10 lakh and they go up to rupees 1 crore. This difference, please don't forget. Then eNAM, government is connecting 585 agricultural mandis, and this is electronic national agriculture market. So, this word don't forget. Then Sagarmala. Sagarmala is basically improving the port infrastructure, that is Sagarmala. And ports will be improved, modernized, and they will be connected with expressways. That is the meaning of Sagarmala. And Ujala. Ujala is Unnat Jyoti by affordable LEDs for all. Basically, energy efficient lights are being provided under Unnat Jyoti by affordable LEDs for all. This is one flagship program of Government of India, and this is implemented by EESL, or Energy Efficiency Services Limited. Then insolvency, this is one important word, that means somebody has taken the loan, some company has taken the loan and it is not able to pay, and their assets are not able to pay the liabilities, their current assets not able to pay the liabilities. That state is known as insolvency. The state is known as insolvency if somebody is going to fail. His liabilities are more than assets. Somebody borrowed 5 crores, but his properties are just 2 crores. That is the state of insolvency, and if it is ratified legally, that is bankruptcy, right? If it is ratified by a court of law, that is known as bankruptcy, and the state is known as insolvency. Mis-selling, this normally occurs in insurance industry. If somebody is not revealing the full truth, then selling the product, that is mis-selling. Current account, capital account. Current account, capital account put together is known as balance of payments. Balance of payments means one country's total financial transactions with all other countries is balance of payments. Balance of payments is divided into two: current account, capital account. What is meant by current account? India established, suppose Indians are in United States of America. United States of America, some person is sending $100 to his mother. That comes under current account. At the same time, Indian firm Tata established a steel company in Europe. It got profit. That profit is being sent to India. That is current account. And at the same time, exports. If I export this, I will get some revenue. That is the current account. India is exporting software products. Then they get some income. That is the current account. So, exports as well as imports. Imports will be minus, exports will be plus. At the same time, services like software, then primary income is the income which India is getting because of Indian firms' investments abroad. Then secondary income means the money sent by the Indians settled abroad. This all comes under current account. Capital account means we already discussed about FPI, FDI, that is capital account. So, these terms please do not forget. Then credit risk. What is credit risk? Credit risk means when somebody X is giving money to Y. When X is giving money to Y, there is every possibility there is some default may be there. I am taking loan from State Bank of India. I may or may not repay. That is credit risk. When credit risk is more, interest rate will be more. Please understand this. When credit risk is more, interest rate will be more. That is why personal loans will have more interest. Credit card advances will have more interest than interest rate risk. This is primarily important when you look at various bonds. When somebody is purchasing bond now, tomorrow that may increase or reduce. The interest rate structure is not constant. So, this interest rate risk is pertaining to interest rates, and this is basically pertaining to various bonds or debentures. Systemic risk. This is very, very important. Systemic risk means when the financial organization has got interconnectivity. When the financial organization has got interconnectivity, what happened in Western countries? They gave loans. Subsequently, they sold those loans to some other organization. So, that is known as the contagion effect. So, here systemic risk means the organizations which are too big to fail. I will tell you one example. Let us assume that State Bank of India failed. Then what will happen? The entire economy will be affected. So, that is example of systemic risk. Then market risk. Market risk may take place because of general situation in the market. Suppose some earthquake occurs, some floods occur, there may be possibility because of some civil war, because of some terrorists, then this market risk will be there. So, market risk means all the organizations will be affected. Then operational risk is due to the internal operations. If some employee has done some mistake, that is operational risk. So, operational risk pertain to one particular organization only, whereas market risk affect all the organizations as a whole. If anyone is diversifying his assets, he may not get relief because when market risk is there, then goods and services tax. This is very important, and goods and services tax basically eliminate most of the indirect taxes now at present by center as well as states. It will create a uniform market for most of the indirect taxes. Here 2-3 important aspects I would like to tell you. One is GST Council chairperson is Union Finance Minister, and in GST Council here 1/3 representation is by center, 2/3 by states. These things do not forget. And here GST network is being established. GST network is private limited company with majority shareholding by private financial institutions. These things please do not forget. Brexit, we have already discussed, that is exit of UK from European Union. Then direct taxes, indirect taxes. Direct taxes means corporation tax, personal income tax, securities transaction tax, gift tax. That means each person, that means whoever is earning, the persons whoever are earning, they are supposed to pay, that is the direct tax. I would like to tell you one more point about direct taxes. In India, direct tax structure, especially personal income tax, is progressive in nature. Then indirect taxes. Indirect taxes are, when indirect taxes are imposed, everyone will be affected, right from poor to the rich. So, that is why indirect taxes are called regressive in nature, and goods and services tax will eliminate most of the indirect taxes. Sharia banking, this is into the news recently. Sharia banking is nothing but here the Islamic banking concept where interest is forbidden. Indus Water Treaty we discussed yesterday, this was signed in the year 1960, this is into the news. DTA, just now we discussed double taxation avoidance agreement, recently protocols were amended with Cyprus as well as Mauritius. Differentiated banks we discussed previously, differentiated banks examples are payment banks as well as small finance banks and existing banks like ICICI, HDFC, these are all known as universal banks, please do not forget. Unsecured loans, this term is very important. When there is no collateral security, that is example of unsecured loan. And unsecured loans examples, somebody may ask you, one is personal loan, the second one is a credit card advances. These are normally examples of unsecured loans. There will not be any collateral security. Fund based support, when you are talking about banking system, two important things: fund based support, non-fund based support. Fund based support means they will give you some money, they will give you some loan directly. Non-fund based support means they will give only guarantee. If you fail, then only bank will come into picture. Example is letter of credit as well as performance guarantee. Please do not forget. The next one is SDR, we discussed several times, strategic debt restructuring. When the borrower is not able to pay back, when the borrower is not able to pay back, then banks can assume management control. Banks can assume management control, that is strategic debt restructuring. Similarly, S4A, please do not forget, here debt is bifurcated into sustainable debt and unsustainable debt. Recently, this Kigali Pact is into the news. Kigali Pact is basically amendment to Montreal Protocol, basically to reduce hydrofluorocarbons. Kigali Pact is basically to reduce hydrofluorocarbons, that is very important, and Paris Treaty is basically to reduce carbon emissions. Then Setu Bharatam, what is the purpose of Setu Bharatam? Setu Bharatam is basically to eliminate level crossings on national highways. Then Udan, Uday Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, we discussed several times, for connecting unserved and underserved airports of the country. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana we discussed yesterday, I am not going to discuss now. Public-private partnership is the mechanism where the government and private parties will come forward to do some project, that is known as public-private partnership. Right friends, this is the terminology we have taken for today's last live session. So, this concludes the last 8th live session. So, this is the last live session for IBPS clerks mains examination, and wish you all the best. And as far as banking examinations are concerned, we will meet live lectures. For next live lectures will be on this IBPS PO interviews 15 days before, and that is one part, and second part is live lectures will start from 2nd January, that is from Monday, as far as this newspaper analysis is concerned. Right friends, I once again wish you all the best and become knowledgeable citizens of the country, that is the wish of Learning Space, and have a nice day. Best of luck once again, and Happy New Year to one and all. Have a nice day. Thank you.